Hey, welcome back to Guided by Faith. It is Tuesday, if you're listening to these in order. I'm your host, Jay Holland. This week we are talking about freedom and authority. We are finishing out Romans chapter 1. And there's just so much that's incredibly relevant to us as we walk through this passage that the Apostle Paul wrote under the guidance of the Holy Spirit 2,000 years ago. And I feel like it could have been written yesterday. It is so deadly accurate to our time and culture. Yesterday, I walked through the 5-step path of rebellion that the Apostle Paul lays out in Romans chapter 1, where God reveals his truth. We pretend that we don't see it. We pretend that we don't hear it. Instead, we began to worship something other than God, follow something other than God. God gives us over to our lust and passions. And then ultimately, God gives us over to a debased mind where we begin celebrating things that we once knew and honestly admitted were evil, and we give approval to others who do them as well. Today, I want to talk about a particular step in that process. In Romans chapter 1, it says, there's two different lines that I want you to pay attention to. First people reject God's truth. Verse 24 says, therefore God gave them up to the lust of their hearts in impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth of God for a lie. And then down a little bit further, verse 28, it says, and since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. And so I want to put these two together today for a minute and really help you understand and caution something. We all have feelings, and feelings are incredibly important. Feelings are a great indicator of how I'm experiencing things, but feelings can absolutely lead you astray. Feelings are telling the truth about how I'm experiencing things. Feelings are not always telling the truth about reality. And one of the things that we have learned more and more in just as neuroscience develops as a field is that the human mind, there's a word for it, neuroplasticity. Basically what that means is like you are not fixed with a concrete way of thinking. Your brain, your mind will change over time given the inputs, given the reinforcements, given the habits. And your brain loves habit. So your brain is craving habit. And so what that means is the more that you do something, the easier and more automatic it becomes. The more you think something, the more that is hardwired into who you are. And the more you are driven by feelings, what I've seen happen is that we will rewrite the truth based on our feelings. And so when I was young, the original Star Wars trilogy came out. This was the one with Luke and Yoda and Darth Vader. And as Luke was being trained in the Force, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then I think Yoda later, would tell Luke, trust your feelings, follow your feelings. Maybe that was Darth Vader. I don't know. I know that like following your feelings was a big part of it. And wow, I got really off on that because I forget if it was Obi-Wan or Darth Vader. It should be Darth Vader because here's the problem. Following your feelings sometimes is okay, but your feelings are often lying. Your feelings cannot be in the driver's seat in your car. Why? Because following your feelings will rewire what you believe to be the truth. Following your feelings will rewire what you believe to be the truth. Let me give you an example. Go to nearly any 7 or 8-year-old in the country and ask them what they think about smoking. And almost all of them will say, smoking's gross, smoking's disgusting, smoking causes cancer, like you're just filling your lungs with bad stuff. Why? Because they've actually been told the truth and they can observe it. And you see these people who grow up and they have lung cancer and all of these other health issues from smoking. So this 7 or 8-year-old, most of them have super concrete thinking and understand that smoking is bad and unhealthy. Yet there's a decent percentage of teenagers that will start smoking, start vaping. And my question is, why does this happen? Is it because they did further studies and realized, well, you know what? The science and data says that smoking doesn't actually cause cancer, that it's actually good for you and healthy for you. No, that's not it at all. Instead, at some point, they are giving into some kind of feeling, whether that's I want to belong or I'm hyper stressed and somebody said that this is a good outlet, or I just want to rebel or look cool or something like that. But as they follow those feelings, we end up rewiring our brain a lot of times to say, well, this isn't a big deal. I need this. This is good for me. This is healthy for me. 7-year-old me knows that's a lie. 13, 14, 15-year-old me thinks that it's the truth. Why? Because following your feelings will rewire what you believe to be the truth. And I just want to caution you on that. What if you just so think about it. What if you just let your feelings be in the driver's seat all over the place? How many reckless decisions would you make? How many relationships would you ruin? Those of you who, have had like love and physical attraction to others awakened in your life by this point, if you just followed your feeling, think of the train wreck of relationships you'd have as you try to pursue physicality with all of those that you might be interested in being with. You can't follow your feelings like that. Not all feelings are bad. Feelings are actually, I think, quite good. Many feelings are worth paying attention to and acting upon. But feelings can't be in the driver's seat. And when feelings are in the driver's seat, they're going to rewire your mind as to what you say is true. So just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Just because you feel something over and over again doesn't mean it should be in charge. I'm going to unpack this a little bit more this week, but just so you understand, you do get to control the story that plays in your head. You get to control it. You have feelings, you have thoughts, you have desires, but you get to control the story that keeps recurrently playing in your head. But as you play that story begins to control you. So you want to be very careful what story you let be the repeat story in your head. And you want to be very, very careful if it's a super emotionally driven, feelings-based story. We want to live our life based on facts and truth, not on feelings, because feelings will rewrite what we even believe to be true. So I want you to examine your heart, examine your life. Where are you running on the rocket fuel of feelings instead of grounding yourself in truth and taking control of your feelings? So think about that, pray about that, and tomorrow we'll continue in Romans chapter 1.